Okay, that's a different sound. Normally it has a different sound when I hit the record button. I guess they changed it. Anyway, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so why is this left here? I don't remember leaving this here. Anyway, it's been a minute since I recorded a video, and minor note before I get to what this video is actually about. TikTok's getting banned in a few days, and I barely use TikTok anyway, but I did upload some videos there. Probably going to be uploading those videos here once TikTok is taken down in a few days, unless Trump puts it back up when he fully gets in office, which he says he might, but we'll see. But I don't want to get into politics, and I was a TikTok hater for years, and even though I still prefer YouTube, I've come to appreciate TikTok. There's a lot of greatness on there, even if you ignore all the deadly trends and the brain rot and the doom scrolling that mind rots people. That's only if you let it mind rot you. If you go on there using it responsibly, it's fine. It's not bad. You just got to be careful how you use it is the problem. So, although I still prefer YouTube over TikTok, I respect TikTok, and it sucks that it's going. So a lot of people are going to have to either switch to another platform or just be out of a job. And but just a note that I may be uploading some stuff from my TikTok. So keep that in mind. Anyway, on to what this video is actually about. So I was just bored and just looked up some fucking... Oh man, I can't believe I stumbled across this, and I can't believe I put this much thought into this. This is such a stupid idea. But, oh well. So I was bored and looked up MOP Friday the 13th stuff. Two things that are way polar opposite of each other, and you would never think to actually combine them. And it would not work as a crossover of any kind, really. But, just like Rule 34, if you can think of it, there's porn of it. There must be another rule on the internet where if you can think of it, it may exist somewhere, or someone may have thought of it or made fan art for it. So I got bored and looked up. I was trying to find images of Jason as a pony, and I stumbled across people just crossing Jason over with the ponies themselves. And it was a pretty neat little thing that some people did. And I stumbled across a few videos, and one of the videos I that showed up in my recommendeds in the up next, right after one of the videos I watched ended. My Little Dashie, Papa Jason, the mini movie. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I was curious. I had to click on it. I didn't know what to expect. Because if you know the story, My Little Dashie, the fanfic, and then the fan film made based on the fanfic, it's about Dashie, the cartoon character, getting transferred magically teleported and somehow de-aged through magic into the real world. Who Framed Roger Rabbit style, 2D cartoon character in the real world. And this guy, who happened to be a brony, stumbled across, her in a box and decided to raise her as his daughter. And if you know the story, you know the story. Go look it up if you want to. It's kind of a touching story. It tugs at your heartstrings, especially the end when she has to go back. It's really sad. So I was like, how the fuck are they gonna make this work? My curiosity got me, so I watched it all 28 minutes, even though it was actually only like 23 minutes and the last few minutes was just a still image. So I just forcefully stretched it out for watch time, so it was really only a 23-minute video. But I watched it, and I was like, okay, this is bad. It's just editing clips from the Jason movies, official and fan films, with clips from My Little Dashie. And Sorry, excuse my mom in the background. She's sick. Hopefully you can't hear that. But anyway, it's just oh my god, it was it was so dumb. Like, first off, this whole concept is dumb. Jason, if you know Jason, he'll just kill anything on sight. He's not gonna leave something alive on purpose, let alone go out of his way to raise it. But unless maybe it's a cat, because he did leave Alice's cat alive in the second movie, and the cinema snob made the joke of Jason's a cat person. So a lot of people, and myself included, headcanoned Jason being a cat person. So maybe he'd let cats live, but anything else, no. So the idea of Jason raising something is just out of character for him, but whatever, we'll let it slide. So it starts up with the beginning of part 7, where Jason comes up out of the lake, although there's no Tina, so the bubbles that resurrected him just came out of nowhere, apparently, and the chain broke on its own, somehow. So he just rises up out of the lake like he does, and he kills the chick and Michael. I forget the chick's name. Michael's girlfriend at the beginning of the movie. I remember Michael's name because, well, Michael, just like Michael Myers. And also it's the guy's birthday. So he dies on his birthday. So of course I remember his name, but not his girlfriend. So they show that. He kills those two. And then, using clips from other Jason movies, even some that don't, like, make sense. Like, they use Freddy versus Jason, head tilts a lot, head turns. And even though this is supposed to be taking place outside, a lot of those Freddy versus Jason shots are inside. So that's the problem with making a movie by editing clips together like this. They don't match. It's so bad, it's hilarious. So this was an enjoyably bad video. But anyway, he finds the box and looks in it, finds Dashie, and then just, after staring at her for a second, walks away. And then Dashie just follows him. And he's just killing people while Dashie watches. And so he does the Freddy versus Jason bed kill where he stab, and then fold him. And then he looks over and we see a clip from the My Little Dashie fan film of her inside a bedroom, like messing with a toy airplane, like looking at it and go, eh. And that's like, this guy just got brutally murdered right over here, and you have no reaction. You're just playing with a toy over there. None, like, what? What the? Like, you're not gonna freak out that this murder over here? Oh my god, this is okay. But regardless, I'm not gonna nitpick everything. This video is made for a point, so I'm gonna have to quickly skim through the rest, the important bits. I'm not gonna go over every little part that happened. So, yeah. Oh my god. So he kills a few more people. She watches, blah blah blah. She learns to fly, blah blah blah, and then the next important story beat happens, where it's just like using different clips. They make it look like he tucked her into bed, and she says, "I love you, Dad." And of course, he doesn't say anything back because he doesn't talk, and that's like, when did you start calling him Dad, and when did you learn what "I love you" means? Because in the My Little Dashie story, she was sent back in baby, so she couldn't even talk. She had to learn all that. And if she's being raised by someone who doesn't talk, how does she learn to talk? That's the real question. But next important bit, she grows up, gets older, and this is when she discovers, in the original My Little Dashie story, one day, when the dad is gone, she discovers on the TV that she's a cartoon character. And she's, it's like, how long have you known when you were going to tell me? And it was a very emotional scene between the two in the original story. here it doesn't quite work or make sense. Because, one, Jason probably didn't know. Because Jason doesn't keep up with media. Sure, televisions existed in the 50s, but there's no telling if Jason's family had them. They could have been one of the people that didn't upgrade with the times. That's very likely. And even if they did, Jason, oh my god, how does he drowned when he was 11 back in 57, and either he survived his drowning somehow and was just aimlessly wandering the woods for years, or he was dead and then his mom dying supernaturally resurrected him somehow. Whichever theory you believe, whichever one you go off of, whether he drowned or didn't drown, Jason would not know about any media. And since he's quote unquote dead or defeated, sleeping in between each film, he's out for years at a time, and then is only back for like a few days till the final girl defeats him again, kills him again, and then he just comes back the next movie, however long later. So he wouldn't know anything about any of this. So why do you assume he knew? And then this next line, it's like, when were you gonna tell me? Never. He doesn't talk. Either he can't talk, or he just chooses not to talk, but he doesn't talk. He was never gonna tell you nothing. Sure, he goes key, ma, 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 but there's no telling if that's actually him really doing that, or if that's just ambiance that only the audience can hear. And if that is Jason actually going key, ma, 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 maybe that's all he can say because his vocal cords are like damaged from being rotten. So, I don't know. I just don't know. But, she runs off and they have their whole makeup scene in the woods, just like the original, except again, Jason doesn't talk, so it's like, she's like, I'm sorry too. Like, he never said I'm sorry. What the hell? Oh, God. Okay, so then comes the end of the story where Celestia, Twilight, and the rest of the main six come to get their friend back. And it's just like, you're just casually talking to Jason like he's not a murderer. Like, maybe they don't know that at first, but he is a suspicious looking guy. He's really tall, rotten, like a zombie, and wears a mask. And they show that he's holding a knife when he went and answered the door. Or actually, no, he didn't answer the door. He just grabs a knife, walks, and then the ponies are already in the house. I'm pretty sure that's not what happened in the original Milo Dashie story, but I guess they didn't have any footage of Jason opening a door, so they couldn't use any stock footage. Oh wait, no, there's footage of Jason opening doors. They could have just shown a clip from like part 7 where he opens the door and walks out, but just cut the clip off before he steps out of the door. Or part 3, he's opened doors, and he's opened doors before, so why didn't they? Okay, I guess Celestia and them are breakers and enterers, I guess. But the question is this even Jason's house? Because we see his house in part 2, and it's a rowdy, it's a shabby old little thing. And the clips they use show it look like a normal house. It's just because it was editing clips together, so I guess it doesn't matter. Fuck it. I'm going way too deep into this. Whatever. So they come in, and the same shit happens as in the original story, except Jason's not talking. And it's like that Rarity part in the original story where she, insinuates that her and Rainbow, the dad, are doing something. He clenches his fist because it's like, ew. Why would you say? Because that's his daughter. He sees that as his daughter. This is even more funny here because accusing Jason of doing that, he's asexual, bitch, and he hates sex. So when they showed the clip from whatever fan film this was of him gripping that knife harder, You know what? I'll give him applause for that. That was actually good. Yeah, that probably be how he would react if he didn't just straight up go for the kill right then and there. But because for some reason he didn't, because Jason's out of character in this story just so it can work. So eventually the thing plays out the same, except Jason's not talking. He eventually lets them take her, and she writes a note, a last goodbye note before they take her. Blah blah blah. And, it just ends like the original story ends. And the ponies all tell Jason thank you for taking care of her and yada yada. And it's like calling him a great guy. So they have no. Do they? He's a murderer. And he was probably raising her to be a murderer. The story never says that happened, but that's probably because they had no clips to use of Rainbow Dash killing someone to use to make this little edit film. But there's no way she didn't grow up a murderer, growing up around Jason and watching him murder. There's no way she didn't grow up a murderer. But anyway, just then it comes to an end, and I was just like, okay, this was stupid. This was stupid, but like, why do I oddly like it? Maybe because I like stupid, but like, there's. So I brainstormed for a minute, and I was like, no way I can make this work. No way I can make this actually work as a story. So either I'll just leave it in this video and leave it at that, or maybe I'll write a fanfic. But like, I thought about how this could work. First, maybe cut out the resurrection at the beginning and just have Jason already be up and about. We don't need to show how he came back or blah. So that's not important. We just need to see a show that Jason is up and active. Or if you want to show how he got resurrected, you can make up your own story. Doesn't matter. The point is, he finds the box, and instead of making him out of character, like this video did, this is my attempt to keep him as in character as possible for the story, to make it work. So as soon as he finds her in the box, he does go for the kill, but she's too fast, because, it's Rainbow Dash. And because she's been reverted back to her younger self, she's too young and naive to realize she's in danger. She thinks this is some form of play, so she's not scared. Oh, also, instead of it being a 2D cartoon, Who Framed Roger Rabbit style, maybe in this version, she's actually a 3D thing, physical. Or maybe you could leave it as 2D. That part doesn't matter. The point is, she's too young to realize he's trying to kill her, and he eventually gives up because he's been trying for too long. He's got other people to kill. He's got other shit to do. So he just goes about his business, and she follows along. And over time, she imprints on him as dad, and he's, over time, he starts to grow accustomed to her too, getting used to her company and her being there. And that shows how they, became father and daughter. So he starts killing, and eventually he teaches her how to kill, and maybe even gives her a mask and a machete. And when she learns how to fly, and eventually unlocks her sonic rain boom, that could be some creative ways to kill people. Just bump right into them at super speeds. That'll obliterate them. That'd be a great kill. So brutal. But regardless, here's how this part of the story is going to make sense. So Jason, while he's, killing someone and Rainbow Dash is off killing someone else, like maybe they're a team, splitting up to cover more ground, he goes into someone's house and discovers My Little Pony on the TV. Right? And then that's when he figures out Rainbow Dash is a character from a show. Like, sure, he drowned in the 50s, but TVs did exist in the 50s. And even if he didn't have a TV himself growing up because his mom wasn't a believer in TV or they couldn't afford it or something, surely he knew what TVs were, and surely he knew what a TV show was. And they had cartoons in movie theaters before they moved them to TV, so he probably knew about cartoons, so he probably wouldn't be too confused on the concept, hopefully. So he sees the TV in someone's house with My Little Pony on it, and realizes what Rainbow Dash is, and realizes this will break her brain if she finds out. So when she's about to come in, he quickly destroys the TV before she sees anything. And then, they move on. Years go by and they're killing people together. And eventually, at some point, just like in the original Dashie story, Milo Dashie story, she does discover she's a cartoon. And how this could work is, while she's on one side of the lake killing people, and he's on the other side, she happens upon a guy watching My Little Pony, or maybe she stumbles upon a DVD collection after killing the guy. Which, can you imagine being a brony, and then you turn around and your Rainbow Dash kills you? Imagine if Rainbow Dash was your favorite too. That'd be, wow. But, she discovers she's a freaking cartoon character. And then when Jason comes in, she's like, how long have you known? And, of course, she's not going to ask, when were you going to tell me? Because she would know he doesn't talk. Maybe she would learn how to talk by watching the other victims talk. So I guess that could be how she learned. But still, she's going to be like, how long have you known? And, because Jason doesn't talk, they're going to communicate with body language. And that's how eventually he's going to show that he cares. He doesn't say I love you with words. He says it with body language. And his body language, when she discovers her being a cartoon, he's going to be all like, oh man. Maybe instead of how long have you known, she's going to ask, did you know? And then his body language is going to give him away. Then, when obviously this breaks into a fight, Jason, not knowing what to do because he doesn't know how to handle these types of situations, obviously, breaks the TV and DVD player, thinking that'll solve something, but of course it's just probably going to make her more mad. Then she's going to run off, and just like in the original story, they're going to meet each other up in the woods, and they're going to have an I'm sorry and moment and blah. Except not with words, body language, and probably eyes. Or eye. Depending on what damage of Jason I'm keeping canon here. I like to keep most of his damage canon if I can, so one eye. So Jason's gonna, with his one eye, show that he's sorry, and then they're gonna move on. And then, this is part of the original story that also didn't make sense. It's out of character for him to grow attached to someone and raise them as a kid in the first place. But if he did, do you think he's gonna give them up easily? No, he's gonna fight. If he actually cares about something, the only thing he cares about is his mama, and you've seen what he did for her. He became a full-on killer. So if he cares about something, he ain't gonna give it up lightly. So unlike the original video, where he just gave her up, here he's gonna fight. He's gonna fight tooth and nail to, keep her. And Rainbow Dash isn't gonna want to go because she doesn't remember who they are anymore, and now she's a killer like him. Oh my god. This is gonna be a mess. So the girls and Celestia are gonna have to try to figure out something to get her, probably a memory erasing spell or something. And they're gonna have to stop Jason, probably with their magic. Maybe they turn him to stone or something. Or at least restrain him with their magic temporarily while they take her back. That's probably the only way it's gonna be done. That's gonna be interesting. So now I have a few different ideas for where it could go from this point. Maybe, they do erase her memory and they bring her back to her world, and then everything's back to normal. But she still has a slight, vague, slight memory of him, even if it's fuzzy. Or, they don't erase her memory, but they get her to remember who she was, so she goes back with them willingly, but she still has the memory of being raised by Jason. So she has the bloodlust now, thanks to her being raised to be a killer. So she's got to get at somehow. And that's how the Rainbow Factory could start. She starts the Rainbow Factory because Jason gave her the bloodlust. And would explain why the Rainbow Factory her wears a mask. Maybe it could be, because her father wore a mask. That could be it. That'd be something. That'd be interesting. Who knows? Another idea, I had two other alternate ideas. This was just my first idea, my first run. Now, my other idea was Jason didn't become a killer till he seen his mom died. dies. So maybe if the others come to rescue her and then they turn him to stone because he's trying to attack them, that could be what triggers Rainbow Dash into becoming a killer. You know, the cycle repeats. Parent gets killed, the kid becomes a killer. But that would mean he was raising her this whole time and she was just watching him murder and just okay with it and not participating herself. And Jason wouldn't try to teach her to be murdered. Unless, I don't know, but that's just one way. But another idea I had was, Jason, we know he comes back for like a few days, gets defeated, years go by, next movie. So if something like that happens, that could be interesting. So Rainbow Dash could see him get defeated and then be sad for a few years and maybe continue killing in his honor. And then when he comes back again, inevitably, she does everything in her power to keep him from dying again. So she'll probably protect him from the final girl. Like whenever the final girl is going for the finishing blow, she probably just sneaks in from behind and gets her. And they're like a perfect team that way. That could be an interesting dynamic. Or after Jason, comes back, gets defeated, comes back a couple times, she figures out how to resurrect him herself. Electricity is a good way to do it. Happened in part 6, happened in part 8. It seems to be a good way to do it. So she could, if he gets defeated, she could just electrocute him and bring him back. Boom. So that's something that could happen. I put way too much thought into this dumb idea, but you know what? Fuck it. Who doesn't love dumb? Well, I mean, some people hate dumb because it's dumb, but you know what? Who doesn't love fun dumb? Like, this is just silliness. This is just silly fun. I know it's a dumb idea, and acknowledging it's a dumb idea just makes it more fun. So, if anyone's actually watching this, I don't know if anyone's going to. Let me know what you think in the comments below or whatever. I'm also going to post the link to the original video that inspired this video, if I remember to anyway. So that way you can check it out. It's kind of, it's bad, but it's like, they put some effort in there. Like some of the clips match up while others don't. Dang, some of the ones that did match up, man, they match up. And then the ones that don't really don't. Just watch the video, you see what I mean. Alright guys, see you guys next time. Peace.